Boatworks today is sponsored by Total Boat and Alexial Yacht Coatings, as well as supported by the generosity from the beautiful folks over on Patreon. Thank you so much.
All right, so welcome back to the shop, everybody. Hope you're doing well. My name is Andy with Boatworks Today. Now, in this video, I'm not quite sure at this point what direction things are going to take here. We're going to give it our A game and see where we land. So let's get started. All right, so I went and picked up a brand new bit. The drilling in here, it's going to be a little bit on the awkward side, so I figured, well, if I can get a brand new sharp bit, all that can do is just help me, right? And also, one other thing, this is undersized as far as the diameter. I think this is only about a 1/4 inch diameter bit. Now, the actual bolts are going to be closer to like 5/8. I don't think they're quite 3/4, but they're pretty beefy. Now, because it's going to be so awkward in here, and I can't really see, very well what I'm doing, if the drill is going to be level or if it's cocked off to the side or however it is. So I don't know if it's actually going to play out like this, but in my head, at least I'm like, well, all right, so if I drill the initial hole undersized, then I'll be able to jump up in the boat where I'll have a lot better access. And I can kind of hold the drill, where it should be to make sure that it's level and flat. Run that through with the right size diameter bit. Hopefully it all lines up and it works. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to work out that way, but it makes sense up here, so we're going to give it a shot. Let's see how this goes.
So I'm sitting here editing this and I'm realizing that it may not be real clear what it is that I'm trying to do here. So we had the first hole that punched through when I was drilling inside the swim platform, and that came in at the wrong angle, and we knew that. But looking at it here, it's about 25, maybe even 30 degrees off from being square to the face of this transom, which that's no bueno. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to drill a few extra holes here, getting a little bit higher and a little bit higher from where the first one poked through, and holding it at the angle that's going to be square to the face of this transom, and hoping like hell that it's going to meet up and actually come through inside the swim platform where it's supposed to. It kind of sort of worked, but mostly not. It kind of sort of worked. It kind of split the happy medium on the angles here. And it's right about now that I'm starting to realize that this just is not going to be practical. I mean, if I only had one hole to drill, fine, I can kind of by gosh it. But if I've got a couple of dozen to do, there's no way this is going to be repeatable. But I'm stubborn, so I'm going to keep on going.
Well, what the hell? As long as I'm at it, I'm going to see how thick this transom actually is. So just cut a little piece of wire, a little bit of a hook on the end. Let's see what kind of thickness we got. Okay, she's hooked there. Oh, let's see. I'd say we're pretty much right at 4 inches. And who would have ever thought that 4 inches could be big? All right, let's think about this for a second here. So the transom is 4 inches thick, right? This bit is 4.5, so technically I could use one of these shorter bits. And the reason that would be beneficial is because, so the bottom of this platform, it tapers up. So the longer the bit on the drill, the more I'm losing any potential to kind of increase my angle coming up. So if I can shorten that distance with a shorter bit, then theoretically, I should be able to get a better angle on these holes. So off camera, I tried drilling 2 more holes, and it's not working. It's not even coming close to lining up. So at that point, I'm like, let's just stop. This is essentially, it's a brand new transom, and at this point, I don't want to turn it into a bunch of Swiss cheese, just kind of blindly taking pot shots, trying to hoping my, was it like 22 or 24 different holes in here actually line up, because I know that's not going to happen. I might be able to get 1, maybe 2, but I'm not going to be able to consistently get 20 plus in a row. It's not going to happen. So I stopped, took a little bit of a step back, and it's kind of funny. Sometimes the most obvious things are not always so obvious. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so the long and short of it here is that looking at the mounting holes and trying to get the angle set when I'm looking inside of this platform here, there's a little bit of an illusion going on compared to how it looks when you're looking at it from the exterior side. So for example, this line, this is roughly kind of the height of the tab on the inside where the bolt and where I need to run the drill through. Not a lot of room in here. Now what kind of threw me off a little bit was trying to get the angle so that the angle's got to come in at a 90 degrees, at least roughly 90 degrees, at this face, and it's got to come out on the interior side at roughly another 90 degrees, so that when you tighten everything down, you're getting even clamping pressure all around the entire platform. So, looking at this here, now in order to get roughly a 90-degree angle at this height, I've got maybe 3 inches that I can, kind of get some type of a drill, or not even a drill bit. The drill bit needs to be at least 4 inches long just to get through the transom. And that's not going to be, there isn't enough room here for me to be able to do that with really anything. The drill bit itself isn't going to fit in here before I run out of room and I start bottoming out. What was happening before is that the back of the drill was bottoming out here, and that is more like the angle that I was drilling in, which, looking at it from the interior side, the hole was facing upwards like this. And that's not good. So that's kind of like the big kick in the face. And one other kind of important little detail that I have not noticed in the past, I'm not quite sure why or how, but anyway, maybe I just wasn't looking for it. But if you look, at least half of this platform is bolted and specifically sealed directly over top of the bottom paint. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, what the hell, who cares? What's the big deal? So a funny little thing about bottom paint, it's kind of engineered to not let things stick to it. Whether it's algae or barnacles, whatever it may happen to be, that paint is designed not to let things, stick to it. That same approach carries over into any type of caulking, sealant, adhesive, whatever you want to call it. This is the way that it's set up right now. This is not going to be a long-term waterproofing solution. Hell, I don't even think it's going to last short term. So that's kind of a major oopsies. That bottom paint should have been removed down to at least the gel coat or at least a barrier coat, and then bolted and then sealed and bolted directly onto that bare surface, not over top of bottom paint, specifically, especially if it's an ablative type bottom paint. Now, if we were to really give this a benefit of the doubt and say, well, all right, whatever, you know, if it's not an ablative paint and it seems to be sticking well, who cares? It's, you know, sealed is sealed, right? Well, when they applied the bottom paint, they also applied that paint directly over top of the topside finish. So when they were spraying this boat, they sprayed all the way down to the transom, you know, below the waterline, which is fine. You know, it'll be covered with something, so I don't think it's going to be blistering. Maybe eventually it would start to blister, but they applied the bottom paint directly over top of a very smooth painted finish that was not prepped. So that's pretty cool, huh? Now, those are two very, very weak links in this chain. So, I mean, it's not a matter of if this is going to fail, it's just a matter of when and where. You know, we've got the chance or the very good likelihood of the 5200 just not being able to bond on top of the bottom paint. Fine, let's just say that holds out. I guarantee you the layer between the two layers of paint, whether the bottom paint and then the top side, I guarantee you they're going to separate. And the end result of that is this is going to leak. This aft chamber, this is supposed to be a sealed chamber. That's going to fill up with water, and there's a very good chance it'll drag this whole boat ass first right down to the bottom of the lake. So not cool. I don't know that I really have any other options. I think the decision on what I got to do here has already been made for me, reluctantly, but I don't see any way around it. There's no way I can get this thing mounted. Even if I could, I still got this issue that is going to keep me awake every single night that this thing is sitting in the water, and that's just, no, that's just not acceptable. So I guess I know what I'm doing next week. Yay! So not at all how I was expecting this week's video to go, but it is what it is. You take one step forward and then you get kicked back 2 more steps. So, but anyways, at this point, I think this is going to be a good stopping point, at least for this week's video. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope at least if nothing else, you got a little bit of a chuckle out of this. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you in advance. I appreciate it very much. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please feel free to leave those down below in the comments, and I will do my best to follow up with you. And as always, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week, providing I don't do something stupid with this transom and maybe, I don't know. Nope, not going to do anything stupid. I'll see you next week. Later.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.